Read the poem and answer the questions that follow. The Chimney Sweeper. When my mother died, I was very young, by William Blake. When my mother died, I was very young, and my father sold me while yet my tongue could scarcely cry, weep, 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 weep. So your chimneys I sweep, and in the soot I sleep. There's little Tom Dacre, who cried when his head, that curled like a lamb's back, was shaved. So I said, Hush, Tom, never mind it, for when your head's bare, you know that the soot cannot spoil your white hair. And so he was quiet, and that very night, as Tom was a-sleeping, he had such a sight, that thousands of sweepers, Dick, Joe, Ned, and Jack, were all of them locked up in the coffins of black. And by came an angel who had a bright key, and he opened the coffins and set them all free. Then down a green plain, leaping, laughing they run, and wash in a river and shine in the sun. Then naked and white, all their bags left behind, they rise upon clouds and sport in the wind. And the angel told Tom if he'd been a good boy, he'd have God for his father and never want joy. And so Tom awoke, and we rose in the dark, and got with our bags and our brushes to work. Though the morning was cold, Tom was happy and warm, so if all do their duty, they need not fear harm. Number 1, the poet starts off by giving a description of the main character's life. What is the poet's most likely reason for giving this information to the reader? A, to help establish the rhyming scheme of AABB. B, it establishes a positive and upbeat tone for the poem. C, it describes the setting and background of the poem. D, it helps the reader understand where the angel comes from. Number 2, in the third stanza, the poet talks of chimney sweepers who were locked up in coffins of black. What effect does this description have on the tone of the poem? A, it helps create a gloomy and depressed tone for the poem. B, it shows how serious the topic of the poem actually is. C, it highlights the lack of experience of the chimney sweepers. D, it shows that the family had a limited choice of colors for coffins. Number 3, the poem's main conflict comes from A, the natural world of sheep and fields and the dirty city world of the city. B, the painful world of human beings and the heavenly world of God and the angels. C, the innocence of the boy chimney sweeps and the financial and social circumstances that create their misery. D, the comforting world of sleep and dreams and the harsh realities of the waking, working world. Read the following poem and answer the questions which follow. Learning to Love America by Shirley Gokhleen Lim. Because it has no pure products, because the Pacific Ocean sweeps along the coastline, because the water of the ocean is cold, and because land is better than ocean. Because I say we rather than they. Because I live in California, I have eaten fresh artichokes, and Jakarta bloom in April and May. Because my senses have caught up with my body, my breath with the air it swallows, my hunger with my mouth. Because I walk barefoot in my house, because I have nursed my son at my breast, because he is a strong American boy, because I have seen his eyes redden when he is asked who he is, because he answers, I don't know. Because to have a son is to have a country, because my son will bury me here, because countries are in our blood and we bleed them, because it is late and too late to change my mind, because it is time. Number 4, what is the most likely reason the poet repeats the word because in the poem? A, to create a mood of optimism. B, to prove California is the best state in the Union. C, to create parallelism in the poem. D, to finish the sentence started with the title. Number 5, what is accomplished by the poet using the words better, line 4, bloom, line 8, and strong, line 14? A, they create a tone of gloom. B, they create a tone of joy. C, they create a tone of success. D, they create a tone of despair. Read the following poem and answer the questions that follow. Miss Rosie by Lucille Clifton, 1936 to 2010. When I watch you wrapped up like garbage, sitting surrounded by the smell of 2 old potato peels, or when I watch you in your old man's shoes with a little toe cut out, sitting, waiting for your mind, like next week's groceries. I say when I watch you, you wet brown bag of a woman who used to be the best looking gal in Georgia, used to be called the Georgia Rose. I stand up through your destruction. I stand up. Number 6. What effect do the phrases like garbage, smell of 2 old potato peels, and brown bag of a woman have on the poem? A, they create a tone of sadness. B, they create a tone of worry. C, they create a tone of hope. D, they create a tone of rebellion. Number 7. How does the speaker of the poem feel towards Miss Rosie? A, the speaker has a feeling of disgust. B, the speaker has a feeling of pity. C, the speaker has a feeling of respect. D, the speaker has a feeling of annoyance. Number 8, what is the best reason as to why the poet does not capitalize Miss Rosie's name? A, it makes the name stand out. B, it is an example of alliteration. C, it reinforces the idea that Miss Rosie is not important to those around her. D, it further emphasizes the importance of Miss Rosie in the eyes of the poet. Read the following poem and answer the questions that follow. Eating Alone by Lee Young Lee, 1957. I've pulled the last of the year's young onions. The garden is bare now. The ground is cold, brown, and old. What is left of the day flames in the maples at the corner of my eye? I turn, a cardinal vanishes. By the cellar door, I wash the onions, then drink from the icy metal spigot. Once, years back, I walked beside my father among the windfall pears. I can't recall our words. We may have strolled in silence, but I see him bend the way, left hand braced on knee, creaky to lift and hold to my eye a rotten pear. In it, a hornet, spun crazily, glazed in slow, glistening juice. It was my father I saw this morning, waving to me from the trees. I almost called to him, until I came close enough to see the shovel leaning where I had left it, in the flickering, deep green shade. White rice steaming, almost done, sweet green peas, fried in onions, shrimp braised in sesame oil and garlic, and my own loneliness. What more could I, a young man, want? What feeling do the following phrases help create? A cardinal vanishes, line 5. The garden is bare, line 2. Strolled in silence, line 10. A, loneliness. B, happiness. C, contentment. D, confusion. Number 10. If the poem continued, what would the author most likely do next? A, throw the mill away. B, call a friend to come over. C, go to bed and sleep. D, eat the food prepared.